Good afternoon, Paul Hawksby and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT. Joining us now from Rio with all the very latest from the world of South American football. It's Tim Vickery. Hi, Tim.
Hello, Tim.
Hello and Happy New Year, one and all.
Indeed. Before we get underway, I know you'd want to pay a tribute to Martin Chivers. He's a man who would have touched your life as a football fan when you were living over here. A great player, really important player for Spurs at a time when they had, cup victories domestically and in Europe.
You're talking about my generation. The first ever issue of Shoot magazine that I bought, Martin Chivers, Big Chiv there, he was on the cover. I remember listening to my old man slate him so much, saying he's so good and he could be a little bit better. But he leaves a fabulous legacy, doesn't he? Both at Southampton and especially at White Hart Lane, where he played the best years of his career, and he was for a while their England centre forward.
Absolutely, certainly was. So we're going to turn to Igor Thiago, who is playing incredibly well at the moment for Brentford. What are his chances with Ancelotti and Brazil, Tim?
Well, it's unorthodox. It's because he played Brazil's second division, which is Serie B. From Serie B to Bulgaria, from Bulgaria to Belgium, from Belgium to Brentford, from Brentford to the brilliant yellow shirt of Brazil. Could it happen? It is scaling Everest the hard way, but he's putting himself in the conversation. The most amount of goals ever scored by a Brazilian in the Premier League. And he's still got nearly half the season left to bang in some more. And he's got, obviously, Carlo Ancelotti as the coach, who is in tune with what's happening in the Premier League, and one of Ancelotti's assistants, Paul Clement, who's even more attuned to what's happening in the Premier League. There is a battle royale going on for that number 9 jersey, but he's put himself in the conversation. Brazil call up. It's the only games before the World Cup squad is announced. In March, they play in the States. They play France and Croatia. When that squad is announced, there will be a nervous man. The big bearded man from Brentford will be nervous there in West London, because he's got a chance. It is very difficult to get in that way, because, today, for example, the Brazilian press is full of stories about who is he? Who is this fella? Yeah. They don't know him. And that makes it tough to get in. And they really don't like, there is resistance to the idea of players being called up from what they see as minor clubs in the Premier League. Now, they've thrown that one at Wolverhampton Wanderers in the past. If you're going to throw that at Wolves, that is certainly going to be thrown at Brentford. So it's not always an easy sell to get a player like that, who's not really known to the Brazilian football community, into the national team. But by his own terrific performance, he's put himself in the conversation.
Yeah. Who knows? Had he not missed really the first 5 or 6 months of his time at Brentford, that injury, he could have cemented that place already. It has been pretty exceptional. Ancelotti's very loyal, isn't he? I wouldn't say Richarlison's going through his greatest.
Someone needs to study what Brentford do to strikers, because they always come in.
Great. Could you? I'm trying to think back to our conversations when he signed Tim. Could you see it? Did you think he was going to do well at Brentford?
Emphatically no, because I hardly knew him. I'd seen a little bit of him in the second division, but only a little bit. But second division, Bulgaria, Brazilian international striker, behave. It's a symbol of what Brentford do.
Exactly.
Because, if you're the size of Brentford, you've got to be creative. You've got to be looking for talent in places that other people aren't looking for it. Yeah. So I think it's a fabulous story. A lot of his competitors are in the Premier League. And Ancelotti is dividing this number 9 position, either off the bench or to start, into 2. There's the ones who are a mixture of a 9 and a 10, which is Mateus Cunha, has got first dibs on that, with João Pedro of Chelsea second. Both of them have benefited from moves to more higher profile clubs. João Pedro certainly benefited from what he did in the Club World Cup, which was huge over here. For the 9, the penalty area operator, and he loves Richarlison, Ancelotti. He's giving Richarlison a lot of opportunities, and he's been criticised for it. And the other one is Igor Jesus, who obviously is well known in Brazil, and he won the league and he won the Champions League over here with Botafogo, and he had an epic performance against Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup. But I think he's having a pretty good year with Forest, but he hasn't scored. I think he's only most of his goals have come outside the Premier League. He's only got one Premier League goal. So the mathematics looks good for Igor Thiago, but time is running out to give him a chance. I know those FIFA dates in March when they play France and Croatia, absolutely vital.
What about Gabriel Jesus? And he's starting to score a couple of goals. He's getting a bit more game time. Is he out the picture, Tim?
He is, as far as we know for the moment. I mean, he's done nothing for Brazil for so long, and he's since 2019. He had lots of opportunities, and he scored since 2019 the grand total of 1 goal for Brazil, which came in stoppage time of a friendly away to South Korea that they were already winning. His last game, and he's been out injured for a while, but his last game was the first World Cup qualifier, the only World Cup qualifier they've ever lost at home. They went down 1-0 to Argentina. And after the game, he told the press, scoring goals isn't really my speciality. Now, that's not a great thing to say if you want to win friends and influence people and be Brazil's number 9. So he carries that one around a little bit. We don't know what the new regime think about him, what Ancelotti and so on think of him. But at the moment, certainly in recent times, he's been out of the picture. Can he force his way back in? The Premier League is the place to look, for this battle to be Brazil's number 9.
Let's look at a couple of players potentially heading from, I think in one case, definitely heading to the Premier League. Alisson from... he's at Gremio, isn't he? That's right. He's gone to Villa, 10.5 million apparently. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, I'm not sure with Alisson that Villa's aim is true. I'm not sure yet. I'm a little bit surprised. Thank you. You've got to be a certain age to get these ones. You've got to have those grey hairs. I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, there's certainly promise there, but I had imagined that these kind of moves would come to an end because for years everyone was looking for their Vinny Jr. And Brazil produces more of these wide strikers, strike these wingers, and more of them that you can shake a stick at, given a stick and the desire to shake it. And some of the recent ones really haven't come off. I mean, Luis Guilherme, who similar, perhaps a little bit more behind him, perhaps than Alisson. Luis Guilherme, West Ham, thankfully for them, have found a buyer, but they had to cut their losses and got nothing out of him at all. And a fella who came from the same club as Alisson, Gustavo Nunes, gone to Brentford. Nothing out of him so far. Even maybe Savinho, who Brazilian international. City haven't got much out of him, and hence the fact they've just gone in and bought Semenyo. Alisson, he's only got 1 season behind him, and it was a kind of nothing season with Gremio. And who saved them, who pulled them into mid-table respectability was Premier League veterans and Carlos Vinicius, William, Arthur, the midfielder, who was at Liverpool briefly, at Barcelona, Juventus, and so on. And he had a promising season as a stocky, filling out, left-footed winger playing wide right, cutting in. He's only got 1 goal, 1 league goal behind him. And certainly speaking to people who've seen much more of him than I have, who cover the club, they're thinking he's not ready yet. He's not ready, and his final decision is it's just not quite good enough. He needs more. He's a little bit of a loose. So I was a bit surprised. But Villa have been tracking him for a while, so obviously they really see something there. But I'm a little bit surprised that it's gone through, and here's hoping that he gets off to a better start than the likes of Luis Guilherme and Gustavo Nunes have.
Just a quick one on Souza. I was thinking just what Tottenham need, an untried left-back from Santos. Just what we're crying out for at the moment. Would he be good business if Tottenham can make it happen?
Terrific business. I like him very much. He's a good left-back.
Good.
Physically strong, skillful, good footballer, can defend, can attack. And he's come through. Now, his first season been really difficult because Santos fighting against relegation. And it's a tough ask, Santos, because, you got all of that history and tradition of Pelé, and you've got a club which these days, it represents a small city in Brazil. So, they're really up against it. But you've got all the demands. So it's a tough support base to play in front of. And he's done really, really well. He obviously wants to move, and Tottenham came in with 8 million. Not nearly enough, I think. Santos at the moment relishing a little bit of an auction for this to push the price up. It seems that he wants Tottenham, and I would be very happy to see him come in. Maybe not immediately straight away, but I think he's on Ancelotti's radar screen as a left back for Brazil. So I think he's very, very promising indeed.
Cheers, Tim. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, Tim.
Look forward to it. Cheers.
Tim Vickery there, our man on South American football. Thanks to him. Now, the former Premier League referee David Coote was in court today. Here's talkSPORT's Will Hobbs with the details.
David Coote was given a 9-month sentence, suspended for 2 years, despite admitting he downloaded an indecent image of a child. A court's heard how Coote had a sexual video of a 15-year-old boy in school uniform on his laptop. The footage was Category A, the most serious kind. The judge at Nottingham Crown Court described the 43-year-old as having a spectacular fall from grace. Coote was fired as a top-flight referee in December 2024 after a video emerged of him making derogatory comments about the then Liverpool manager, Jurgen Klopp.
Let's talk sports. Will Hobbs. Coming up next, Flav Bateman from the Fighting Cock Spurs podcast joins us. Some other fallout from Thomas Frank's press conference. The headline we brought you earlier on is that Mohamed Kudus will be out effectively until April, until after the March, and it's right at the end of March, that international break. So, real blow for Spurs, especially as they sold Brennan Johnson, who was playing in that position. So Flav joins us next. It was a pretty toxic old night last night at the Vitality. We're here with our good friends at Toolstation. Get winter ready with heating and insulation essentials. Next stop, Toolstation.